Hello and welcome to this first look exploring session looking at All's Lost by Lust by William Rowley, Rowley, depending on your point of view. I think Rowley is the approved pronunciation, but I don't care. It's a tragedy written by solely by him. Not many, I think, that aren't collaborative texts. Diverse times acted by the Lady Elizabeth's servants. Various other possibilities as well in its time. Written around the 1620 mark, so James is still alive, and Prince Charles's men possibly as well, presumably at the Red Bull or the cockpit. So it has a span in its performance history, and in fact the author is probably in it as well, at least certainly according to the dramatis personae. Because of the nature of the dramatis personae, I'm just going to throw out potential content warnings here. There are room for manoeuvre that there might be some questionable depictions of other races and societies in the world from an early modern standpoint. I don't know for certain, but some of the character names suggest that. And as ever with these reading sessions, all parts are assigned randomly. We're not attempting personation per se of any individuals who we are not fundamentally. So to find out how the text functions, we've got quite a lot of text to get through. Reading today, Lazarello, Zacharia, Malena, Pedro and Cobb is...
Susan Kidd, hello, from Norwich, England.
Reading Antonio and various Moors is...
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm back for more.
Good. Reading Julianus is...
Sarah Salih in London.
Reading Roderick and Mully Mumen is...
Irene and from Greece.
Reading Prologue, Jaques, Dionisia and Lothario at the moment I'm speaking is...
Rachel in Canada.
We are potentially expecting another Rachel, we shall see. Reading Medina, Claveele and Scout is...
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm in the northwestern United States.
And reading Jacinta and Alonzo is...
Alan in Suffolk in the UK.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions, and I might leap in to read an additional part, if necessary, further down the line. But without further ado, we're going to begin the text. It comes with a prologue. Have we had a prologue for a while? We haven't really had a prologue for a while. I don't think so. They sometimes they survive, sometimes they don't. It depends on how the text comes to us. But we have the prologue, and prologue away, please.
Thus from the poet I am bid to say, he knows what judges sit to doom each play, the over-curious critic or the wise, the one with squint, t'other with sun-like eyes, shoots through each scene. The one cries all things down, t'other hides stranger's fault close as his own. Last, those who out of custom come to gear, sung the full choir of the 9 muses here, so carping not from wit, but apish spite and feathered ignorance, thus our poet does slight. 'Tis not a gay suit or distorted face can beat his merit off, which has won grace in the full theatre, nor can now fear the teeth of any snaky whisperer. But to the white and sweet unclouded brow, the heaven where true worth moves, our poet does bow, patron of arts and pilots to the stage, who guide it through all tempests, from the rage of envious whirlwinds. Oh, you do but steer his muse this day, and bring her to the wished shore. You are those Delphic powers whom she'll adore.
And exit prologue. Okay, it's doing some standard sort of... hey, poet would like you to enjoy the show kind of thing. This is our kind of shtick we've had before several times. It feels like a prologue used in the first performances of a play rather than necessarily one you might use later on. It's very much a case we don't quite know if the play's going to go down well with our audience, and that's much more important for your first night than it is further down the line. Any thoughts on this one? I'm not sure it's one I'd necessarily keep in the modern times, but it's not a bad one. It sort of bounces along okay. Any thoughts on this example of the form? No, I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, Eric.
Since no one else says something. No,
Mm.
yeah, I'm struck by the last two lines of like, if you steer the muse this day and bring her to the wished shore, where those Delphic powers whom she'll adore, which is kind of like, well, the play is written, but we can kind of rewrite it. And I don't know, it kind of there's some sort of thing going on there with like the way it ends depends on the audience, I guess, or the way it's perceived.
Yeah, in the sense that, yeah, audiences are sort of partly authors of the success of a show. If an audience is for it, they will help carry it along. Is that what it's sort of aiming at there? I think that's sort of the idea. Alan?
Yeah, it feels very generic as a prologue because it's not actually telling you anything about what's going to happen. It's the early modern equivalent of please ensure your mobiles are turned off.
Yeah, it's a case of, if you come to this show open-hearted, then you will enjoy the show will be better, literally better if you're nice. Susan.
I rather like those white teeth and the snaky whisperer. I mean, as an actor myself, shut up, audience, in other words. And the whispering going on, and please pay attention.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's now pay attention to the actual text itself. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Roderick, King of Spain, Lothario, Medina, Julianus, Antonio, and Lazarello. Yes, they enter.
Give leave.
The other nobles withdraw.
Lothario.
My sovereign.
The news in brief. How replies Jacinta? Will she be woman? Will she meet our arms with an alternate rondure? Will she do?
Nothing to the purpose, my liege. Cold as Aquarius. There she was born, and there she still remains. I cannot move her to enter into Pisces. I laid the flesh to her too, and the delights thereof. She leans another way and talks all of the spirit. I frighted her with spirits too, but all would not do. She drew her knife, pointed it to her breast, swore she would do something, but women's tongues are sometimes longer than their arms.
Enough. We have bethought another way. This wooing application is too mild. 'Tis better trust the mercy of a storm, to haste our way, than to be calmed forever, short of the wished haven. Now draw near.
And the lords approach again.
You told us of a hot invasion the barbarous and tawny Africans intend upon our confines.
True, my liege. Full 70,000 are descried in arms, ready to pass the Straits of Gibraltar, whose watery divisions their Afric bounds from our Christian Europe in Granada and Andalusia, they spread and flourish. They spread and flourish their silver moons, led, as it is supposed, by some blind guide, some saintish infidel, that prophesies subjection of our Spain unto the Moors.
They would deter us with their swarthy looks. Were they the same to their similitude, sooty as the inhabitants of hell, whom they nearest figure, cold fear should fly from us as distant as they are from beauty. They come to sacrifice their bloods to us. If that be red, a mere rumbrum will make so high to quench their silver moons, and on their carcasses, as isthmus make, to pass their straits again and forage there.
Your forward valour speaks you majestical. But my dread liege, does not your treasury grow thin and empty? So long have you held a champion resolution against the Turk, that Spain is wasted in her noble strength, on which presuming 'tis to be supposed the Moor is thus encouraged.
And yet we undaunted, Julianus, our treasury is a mine unsearched. We have a castle supposed enchanted. We'll break the magic. If spells there be, ope the forbidden doors, which 20 of our predecessors have refused, but added such a lock to guard it more. Rather than our soldiers shall we pay to fight our battles nobly.
Oh, my lord, that's a dangerous secret, only known to such as can divine futurities, and they with fearful prophecies predict fatal events to Spain, when that shall be broke up by violence, till fate hath run her own wasting period. Which outstayed, auspiciously they promise that wreaths are kept in the foredooming court of destiny to bind us ever in a happy conquest.
Tut, fear frights us not, nor shall hope fool us. If need provoke, we'll dig supply through hell and her enchantments. Who can prefix us a time to see these incantations loosed? Perhaps 'twill stay 10 generations more, when our blood royal may want succession. If not, what boots it us, lost in our dust and memory 500 years, that then this hidden work shall be, tush, the weakness of our predecessors, shall not fright us. All is not deadly that looks dangerous.
I wish new life to see that day.
Nor I. So many kings have feared that destiny.
Lord Julianus, we commit to you the charge of this great work against the Moors. With title of Lord General, as you please, order this high affair, call to the field an equal army against those Africans, and bold and hardiest soldiers of our kingdom. Scourge back again those half-naked infidels into their sunburnt climate. In thy heart be loyalty and courage, strength in thine arm. With Christian valor strike the heathens dead, and for thy triumph bring the Mully's head.
This honour which your majesty has given me, though better it might fit another's wearing, of abler limbs where time has not defaced, nor half so many winters quenched his blood, as a new spring it hath revived again this autumn of my years. There's but one care. I leave behind me within the court of Spain my poor Jacinta, mine and only mine. May she here thrive in honour and in favours, and I shall meet her with a victory heaven put before, as shall endow us both in your high esteem.
That shall be our care, noble Julianus, to see her safe. We love Jacinta more than you mightst know, and for her sake we do remove thee hence. You may thank your daughter for this honour, sir, if you know our purpose, if you knew our purpose.
I understand all this. Whilst he wars abroad, his daughter must skirmish at home. Venus is in conjunction with Mercury. Wit and lechery are both in labour. At once, alas, poor maidenhead, thou art cast to faith, and must to execution. Virginity, hadst thou been moulded in my compass, thou hadst scaped this pitfall.
On to thy charge, prosper in thy high deeds. Who aims at honour nobly, nobly speeds.
My heart and tongue thus sentenced to my fate, in honour thrive, in baseness ruinate.
All help him on his speed, Lothario.
And everyone exits apart from Roderick and Lothario.
Have we not finely moulded our design? Time's ancient board, opportunity attends us now, and yet our flaming blood will scarce give leave to opportunity.
I told your highness of a second bawd to time, and yet not time's second neither, for time ne'er patterned her, a real thing, not a dumb moral, as time itself is, but a speaking thing, and one that speaks effectually, one that has racked more maidenheads in Spain than she has years upon her reverent brows, and yet she writes odd of 80, an odd wench 'tis.
Thou namest her to me.
Malena.
And hast instructed her?
I have prepared her fit for instruction, my liege. She waits her further confirmation from your highness. Oh, every soldier has a double heart when the king's in the field.
Call her.
By her right name. Bawd, where art thou? Bawd?
If words will serve, if not, by rapine's force, we'll pluck this apple from the Hesperides.
Enter Malena.
This is the thing I told your highness of.
A reverent one it is, and may be called schoolmistress of our sex. If apples have ever pictured forth experience, here might he take his pattern.
Susan? Muted at present.
Indeed, my liege. I have been the pattern that a great many has taken out pictures by. I confess I have been a greater friend to the hospitals than the nunneries, and I think it was the greater charity because they are the poorer and more wretched places.
The very ipsissima of her sex? My liege, as old as she is, I will undertake she shall wrestle a fall with the strongest virgin in Spain and throw her down too.
Thou must be my lawyer. I'll fee thee well, and at the bar of beauty plead a cause, which, whether right or wrong, must needs be mine.
Indeed, in rightful cases, weak lawyers will serve turn, but the wrong had need have the best orators. I'm but a weak vessel, you know, my liege.
She'll hold out, I warrant. Hark you, my liege. This vessel is not hollow yet. It does not sound. There's metal in her. There's sack in this tun that has eaten up a great deal of dead flesh in her time, lights, longs, and bad livers.
Come, come, you must not plead an insufficiency.
I'll do my best, my lord.
Tush, in malo concilio feminae vincunt viros.
Does he not abuse me, my liege?
Not at all. He says women overcome men in giving counsel.
Is there not a faulty word amongst them?
Thou art able to corrupt any good sense with bad construction. I say, feminae vincunt, that is to say, quasi vincere concoctos, overcomes all men.
Go to. There is a broad word amongst them, vincunt quotha. Is it spoke with a K or a C? But in plain language, I will do my best. If she be of my sex, I will show her the end of her function. Men follow the traditions of their forefathers, so should women follow the trades of their foremothers.
I see thou hast persuasive oratory. Here's juice of licorice, good for thy voice. Speak freely and effectually.
I will speak the words that have o'erthrown 100 in my time.
I was within compass then.
Let me have access to her. If she be flesh and blood, I'll move her. I will not leave her till I turn her to a stone.
Unite your forces both, conquer in love, I will reward as for a victory, purchased with blood from my worst enemy. Effect, for ill things have their effects, we see. Prosper, we'll call it a prosperity.
Exit Roderick.
You'll bring me to a place and party?
Prepared with all advantage. I will assist thee, thou destroyer of maidenheads.
And exeunt. Okay, there's quite a lot to unpack there. It's quite well written, but it's quite horrible. And it's really interesting question as to whether the awfulness of the characters is going to be something that they're going to be, leaning into as a deliberate thing about, saying how awful these people potentially are and why they're doing this, or is it that it's just for effect? And I'm always slightly worried that it's going to be just for effect. So we have various people being othered constantly throughout this. We have some really disturbing sexual politics. There's a lot. Who wants to leap in on one of those things? Lynn?
I just wanted to say I hate Roderick already. Like I hate him. Boy, it doesn't waste any time. He's a predator. He's a racist. He's a braggart. He's all the bad things. He's a bad person. Yes, Lothario's not much better. And the one decent character, Jacinta's father, is like he's on for a minute and then they send him off to be general. It's like, oh, this is such an honor. I don't deserve it. Moron. But yeah, it's very icky already.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it just hit you in the face with the ick almost immediately. It was like, Lords, go stand over there while we are quite unpleasant for a bit, and then actually no, we're going to be quite publicly unpleasant all the way through. Irene.
Yeah, I just can't see how this would ever be performed in this day and age, ever. I mean, I read the lines and it was like, what worse and worse, women, and then awful things about.
Yes. Welcome to my dilemma as we play the game of this is technically what we do. Along at the same time as going, yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe it'll all be fine at the end. Maybe it'll all have been for a very good, deliberate, artistic reason, and the journey will be justified. I probably don't think that's true. Anyway, Sarah.
I don't think there's any. I mean, if you take the toxic bits out, there isn't anything left, is there?
But I mean, it's a question of the toxic, the toxicity of these characters. If there is a deliberate intent for what they are doing there, rather than then there might be a route through here. But it's just a question of at what point does just the level of, you just get the impression the playwright just enjoys doing awful things with awful people, and that becomes a problem quite quickly.
I'm sorry, Robert. Is Malena a woman?
Yes.
Yeah. Malena's a woman.
She is a woman pimp.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are aboard.
Yeah. I mean, that line, let me have access to her. If she be flesh and blood, I'll move her. I will not leave her till I turn her to stone. Talk about Wicked Witch.
Yeah. So, Eric.
But we've had this type of character before. I mean, it's not like we've not seen them, like in, what was it? Callisto and Melody, or loads of other, or Melibea, depending on how you pronounce it.
Women beware women.
Yeah.
This kind of procuring character is not unknown. Is basically a
and in Marston as well, you get sort of loads of characters like her. But I think it's just that it was kind of one on top of the other. That's why it hit us so strongly. Whereas in Marston, it usually waits till Act 1, Scene 2 to put that character in. But yeah.
I think I'm sorry to say that I think they're fantastic parts to play, especially as an older woman. I think they're my favorite kind of, if you're going to be bad, be really bad.
Yeah, and we also have within the matrix of this play, so it's these Spanish characters, and of course we are approaching the end of peace with Spain. There's an awful lot of anti-Spanish feeling in the country, and there's an awful lot of very anti-Spanish drama coming about, which this is part of. And I think what's happening here is the playwright's going, well, we can do lots of terrible things with Spaniards because everyone in the audience will love them being evil and villainous. And that probably feels like the game that's being played here. But
right.
I could be wrong, and it could all be fine. And let's keep looking. I'm going to try and stay positive and see if we can find angles.
Just wondering if by 1620 James's son Charles had married Henrietta Maria already.
I don't think so. I think this is still a few years away.
Right. Okay.
I could be wrong. I can't. This is not my end of history. So
no. Is that the anti-Spanish sentiment? Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Oh no, maybe they are. I can't. No, he can't be because
the
Spanish match is still a few years away, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, we'll disentangle that at a future date when we return to do this show in Triumph. Okay, never mind. Act 1, Scene 2. Enter Antonio and Lazarello.
Your passions my lord. Did you foresee what may ensue? Folly begets danger. Nay, oft their full effects, destruction. You would not clothe the nobleness of your blood in such base weeds. She's a beggar, you dote on.
Thou spoke with the worst thy mouth could invent. A beggar, sayest, and better being so. If a small star could overshine the sun and show his brightness in the solstice, should it be blamed or praised? The feeble vine brings forth sweet fruit, whilst the cedar is barren. Beggar is she, I'll poise her graces with it, and see how many infinites she'll pull the bounds down, and yet that poverty a goodness disesteemed. She's fair, modest, lovely, wise, virtuous.
Nay, if you dote, I'll waste no more good counsel. And what's her dower, sir?
Infinites, I named them to thee.
Oh, she's fair. A fair dowry.
Chaste and virtuous?
Those are jewels indeed, but they'll yield little.
They are not things of price, they are far off, and dear, yet ladies not send not for them.
May not a league be taken for a time? Defer this hasty match. You have employment as a soldier. The king has given you charge, approved your champion valour in the field. If that remove not this domestic trouble, retire upon your Venus.
I'll prevent that venom. This night I will be married to my sweet, and then her memory enjoyed shall strengthen mine arm against my foe, which else would droop. Suspecting of her loss, I fear it now. What I can look on her, but is captive in the enchanted prison of her eyes.
Why, you'll be jealous in your absence, then.
Away, thou dost forget her virtues faster than I can name them. She's chastity itself, and when a shrine shall be set up unto that saint, it shall be built upon the marble that shall cover her.
Enter Julianus and Jacinta.
Here comes the general.
No more, no more. Thy fears are all follies, my Jacinta.
Must not leave you thus.
Antonio, what, unplumed? You are a soldier, sir, and soldiers should be forward, look ye. I have bright steel for the black Africans. I tell you, sir, I went not with more joy unto my maiden bride that Hymen night, from whence I fetched this jewel of my heart, than I do now unto my second nuptials. Oh, 'tis a gallant mistress. An old man is young again at sight of her.
Worthy sir, your leading valor will centuple the hearts of all your followers. When set you forward?
Tush, we limit time to her best haste. 3 days will be the most. The longer stay loses the more advantage.
We shall be ready to attend, your honor. Hymen, this night I vow to thee, Mars be my morrow's saint.
Here were a saint fitting your orisons.
Blasphemy, speak that no more. The beggar, if you will so profane to speak her so, is gold refined compared unto this rubbish, diamond to marble. My noble lord, I'll leave you to hasten our attendance on you.
Exit Antonio and Lazarello.
Farewell, Antonio. I'm in haste too. My preparations call me.
You be call too. I beseech you, hear me.
Thou art a clog to me. Methinks thou should be reading o'er new fashions, conferring with your tirewoman for fair dressings. Your jeweller has new devices for ye, fine labels for your ears, bracelets for wrists, such as will illustrate your white hand. These are all peddler's wear to me, Jacinta. I am for corselets, helmets, bills, bows, and pikes, the thundering guns, trumpets tantara, the rattling sheepskin and the whistling fife. What music's this to your ears? Ha! Farewell, farewell, and heaven bless thee.
Good heaven, how slightly you are run my fears. You go to meet with a full power, an armed foe abroad, and leave me single to an enemy that hath both power and will to ruin me.
'Tis treason that thou speakest, and by the Saint of Spain mend it, or I'll discover thee. Wrong my dread liege, my king, my sovereign, to say that he should dote upon your face? Away, away, 'tis but your beauty's pride. So to belie itself thou art not fair, thou hast no eye to attract majesty, to look upon it. Say he speak love to thee, 'twas but to try thee, perhaps 'twas why consent. Will you inquire the hidden hearts of kings? He would not wrong thee for his kingdom's wealth, even for my sake. Away, you wanton fool.
There has been ravishers, remember Tarquin.
There has been chaste ladies, remember Lucrece. I'll hear no more, my time and haste hath barred me. My blessing take, heaven and that shall guard thee.
And exit Julianus.
You leave me in a tempest, heaven guide my fate. Oh, let me sink ere I be captivate.
And exit Jacinta. End of scene. Remember Lucrece?
Doesn't help, does it?
No, it's just as bad. Really? Yeah. Lynn.
No, I hate Julianus too.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
I thought he was kind of an upright guy. Like, no, I can't believe the king is really interested in you. Get over. What?
I love all that stuff about you. Just get on with your rings and your bracelets and your, nail varnish, for God's sake. I love that. That speech is wonderful. Yeah. So my corselets, helmets, bills.
Yeah. Because I'm a man, soldier man. I'm going to go kill people because that's what it's all about, killing people. Oh, yeah,
Yes. Well,
the battle.
Yeah. And also, emphasizing again the racial element of what they're talking about, in terms of the people that they're off to kill, because that's presumably great within the logic of the play. So yeah, hidden within all of this, I should point out, we also had the introduction of a subplot. So just drawing us to attention to Lazarello and Antonio at that point as well. Eric.
Well, also, I feel like this scene could have been the first scene to sort of warm up the audience a bit, and then you get to the first scene. I don't know. It just feels like sort of, if you were performing this, it feels like you would introduce the smaller subplot first, and then jump into the bigger sort of what is the king doing and why.
I mean, it's interesting. I didn't talk structurally about what was going on in the first scene, in the way it was delivering information to us, because all the information was there, but actually, in terms of stage time, some of that information was just here's a quick aside, just explaining what I'm really thinking, and then it passed, and it was like, actually, there were certain points where if you weren't paying attention at the beginning of a play, when everyone is usually going, whoa, that's quite dangerous, actually, in terms of just making sure you know what's going on when you've got characters who are actively lying to each other. They managed to pack in quite a lot of information there. I mean, it's skillfully done, but dangerously done, I think. I mean, that's sort of the frustrating thing here, is that actually the playwright is not unskilled in what they're doing. It's just I wish they used their powers for good. Alan.
Yeah, the other thing is that I suspect we're probably not doing it any favour with a reading in this format, because there are a heck of a lot of asides which would come over much more clearly if you were looking at a physical staging.
Yeah. Okay. Let us carry on. Let's finish Act 1. Act 1, Scene 3. More characters we've not met. Enter Pedro, Jaques, and Claveele.
I do not like this match. This gay outside is cloth of gold within a ragged lining.
Oh, poor comparison, father. Do they use to line cloth of gold with cloth of gold? No, but with fine, gentle, and easy linings, and such my sister may be, for though I say it that should not say it, my sister has a good face, a white neck, and a dainty hand, and that may serve for lining for the best cloth of gold in all Spain.
Cedars and shrubs cannot grow up together.
Away, away, speak not so like a woodmonger. I'll put you down with a comparison now. Do we not use to graft sweet apples upon crab tree stalks? Do we not use to inoculate your malacatoon upon a gooseberry? Such is my sister's case now. Say that the nobleman would inoculate his lordship upon my sister's yeomanry. What hurt were there in this? Would it grieve you to be a lord's brother, or this old woman to have her lady daughter to ask, Granam, how do you? Will you ride abroad in your croach, or your embroidered side saddle?
Aye, thou talk'st wildly, boy, yet errest not much in my conceit. Be content, man, and add as meet it is, joy to content. Your daughter shall be made a happy woman by a noble marriage.
Happy, sayest thou? Oh, 'tis as distant as the moon from earth, and has the like effects. It changes oft. So with a silver brow, greatness looks on us, promising and lovely, but once grown full, it brings swelling billows to overwhelm us.
Pray, Father, talk no more of the moon, but of your son. Not myself, that am your son and heir, but of your son-in-law that shall be, my noble Lord Antonio, Lord of Barcelona, and his noble lady, my sister, that shall be.
'Twill well become her. What alms shall I give to make her gentle by?
Those we can sell of the heralds. Those we can buy of the heralds. You know she has cried oranges the most of her time here in Seville. Now a fine orange for her crest, with civility written up around it, would speak wondrous well. Then a capon and a scutcheon, with a gizzard upon his left arm, and with spurs on his heels, riding upon a lemon.
Away, away, thy talk's impertinent. What should a capon do with a lemon?
Aye, you say well, Father, there indeed. The capon desires no lemon, and therefore we'll hope of both that neither the Lord prove himself a capon, nor my sister a lemon.
Aye, this thou touchest by a forced figure, the perfect sense of all. Thence grows my fear. This love was first conceived and born in lust. How long has he laid an unlawful siege against her virgin honour, which, had she yielded and been so lemoned, she ne'er had been proffered the style of wife. Sorry.
See, they come.
Enter Antonio and Margaretta.
Aye, marry, here's a lady now who will wear her own hair.
Who's not in this scene? Sorry, it just occurred to me I don't actually have a Margaretta, so who's not in this scene? Sarah, are you free? I think, could you read Margaretta?
Okay. Nay, now, no further protestations. You have said enough to make me new or ruin me. And this my spirit bids me prophesy, if you repent, as love might be o'ersated in its best desires, and any cross event shall fall upon this your unequal choice. Yours is the crime, your handmaid must be blameless, since you have sought what I have not desired. And yet you may avoid the fatal doom, if any such there be, by throwing back your achieved vassally.
Teach me no error, I will not learn it, sweetest, if you do. Speak nothing now but of those holy rites whose sacred hands must guide us to the path of your desired joys.
Here's all the bar. When these have given consent, I am your own.
It shall be done in this acknowledgement. Father and mother, let me but call you so.
And brother, ache also.
Yes, brother too. By this I claim them all. Your daughter makes me your son and yours.
And my brother.
I'll not forget that neither.
If you do, I will forget to call your lady sister.
Sir, I have questioned all the will in me and find it now resolved unto your wish.
You have my good will too, brother.
Mine is wrought out through rocks of doubt and scare. She is your own. I send her pilots like into the argosy beyond her steerage.
I'll hand the helm with her, and there abide safety your drowning.
She will be hated when the disdainful brows of noble greatness shall be shot against her. The scorns and flouts she shall endure will be far less content than is the humble quiet she enjoys.
All those I will rebuke, and if she blush, the beauty then will check their painted cheeks with a rebounding shame upon themselves. Let not more obstacles be mentioned, only let privacy protect us yet. Although we scant the full solemnity due to thy wishes, hymen which afterward shall dare the largest blazon.
Call it mine, sir, and then the smallest ceremony may serve all wants, are only wanting unto you to give your greatness the due ornaments.
Shall your kind pains provide us of a priest whom my instructions shall direct you to?
Shall I? Why, who am I pray?
Yes, good brother, do.
Oh, you teach me, sweet. Yes, good brother, do.
Oh, as a brother I will. I perceive these great men are somewhat forgetful of their poor kindred.
A friar in St. Austin's monastery asked for one Benedict. My commands to him will bring him with thee. He's prepared for it.
I'll be the clerk myself for the groat's sake, which you will arise out of the 22.
Hush, I'll treble that wages.
Nothing grieves me, but this wedding will be so stillborn we shall have no dancing at it. But I'll foot it to the priest, howsoever. La 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 la.
Exit Jaques.
How ere the king's employment in the wars calls on my person, I shall leave behind myself in thee, and bear myself along in thy sweet memory.
Oh, sir, you speak of swift divorce.
Relish to joy of breathing from our pleasures. Come, come, true love shall tie two hearts in one.
Oh, happy prove.
And they exit end of Act 1. Okay, there is a little light in this tunnel, this dark tunnel, in the sense the Antonio subplot is relatively benign. I'm interested in what's going on with the clown, especially if the clown is the author. Because the clown stuff isn't inherently... I mean, you can sort of see some of the language games going on there. Doesn't leap off the page as funny. But I'm curious that if someone's writing it for themselves, for their own comic shtick, what is that performance gap between the text we've got and the performer? And that interests me. I think there are some good lemon bits in there, though some of them have probably lost their efficiency.
Yes, I looked that lemon thing up. It's much more interesting than it seems, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lynn, yes.
Do tell.
Well,
about, I mean, lemon means sweetheart, and lemon the fruit. But other than that,
there's another. It was a while ago. Some sort of smothering. Is it a smothering?
Oh no, that one I was just going to do with fish and lemons, as well as the lemon one.
Right, I can't find it now. I thought it was something about smothering something.
Ooh. Any other lemon gags that everyone's getting out of this?
Well, what I was going to say is so Rob, I hope you're right and I'm wrong. Because we hear about this affair before we see it. Someone saying to Antonio, she's poor. She's not good enough for you, and he's like, her virtues are her dowry, sort of thing. But also, somebody says in this scene, yeah, it started out with lust. He started out wooing her in a dishonest way. It's just, come on, sleep with me, and only proposed marriage because she held out. And he's going to get married locally with some parish priest here, where what I foresee is he's going to disavow the marriage eventually, and you get what he wants, and then go off to war and just basically never come back. So.
Oh no, I'm not necessarily saying it's going to end well or anything, but it's dramatically it's dramatically interesting without being which is sort of my fear, because this could go in all sorts of different directions. And at the moment, I'm trying to just avoid the yikes with this text. Other thoughts on that? Are we hopeful for Antonio? Eric?
My fingers keep disappearing because of the filter. Anyway, it's interesting the whole Jaques bit with Jaques or whatever you want to pronounce, however you want to pronounce his name. The whole brother shtick, brother-in-law, I guess, is kind of interesting because it feels like, don't forget about me, and sort of just or elbowing him in the ribs or something, while he's standing next to him, or I don't know. It just kind of seems a bit like an interesting bit of possibly physical comedy that has been lost, or it's just how do you put it? He's up to something that we haven't yet tweaked.
I mean, to be fair, having met this family, I wouldn't want to get married into it. But that's the you know, they're out of stock comedy types, so that could be disastrous. Let's go into Act 2 and gather some more data. We have quite a lot of text to get through today, so I will power through some scenes. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Lothario and Malena.
Come, old reverence, if ever thou hadst music in thee, to enchant a maidenhead. Now strike up.
You play well on the Pandora. Shall I wonder your skill fails to make her dance after it?
Tush, I give thee the precedence. Wire strings will not do it. It must be a wind instrument that's governed with stopping of holes, which thou playest well on, my old Veil de Gambe. Come, thou shalt have reward.
And what pay have you for pandership?
Little or nothing. It comes short of the baud always.
A baud? Why, what's a baud, Pander?
Why, baud, I'll tell thee what a baud is.
Then, Pander, I will tell thee what a pander is.
A baud's a thing that when the devil plays at maw, he turns up trump, because she's a help.
But the pander playing with the devil robs the board to make his hand the stronger, and the cards being the devil's, he makes out a little heart, and that's all he has, into the stock.
The devil vies it with the baud.
The pander, being drunk, sees the devil.
The devil plays on and loses the baud.
And takes away the knave, which is the pander, with his 5 finger.
And fearing he has not tricks enough, gives up his dealing to the baud. So they shuffle again.
Enough of this game.
Well, the maidenhead is in this enchanted castle. Thou must blow up. Give fire, old linstock. I confess I am repulsed in the van. If thou failst too, the king comes with a murdering piece in the rear. Oh, 'tis a royal service.
Well, leave it to me, sir.
Enter Jacinta.
She sallies upon thee. Amostheus, Serothus, and all his fiends in the flesh, stand at thine elbow.
Exit Lothario.
Bless ye, fair virgin.
From your age with a virgin epitaph. If you no better be, then I esteem you.
'Twere pity indeed you should be a virgin to my age, sweet beauty. You would be like a garment long laid by and out of fashion, which the new would not be worth a wearing.
Is that your companion parted with you?
No companion, lady, but a friend of mine, as I hope he is of yours.
You're both naught then, neither friends of mine. But here you have me prisoner in your power. If you have aught to speak with me, out with it.
Your beloved lady, and which is more, yea, most, of a king beloved.
A good induction. And all this I may deserve, being a loyal subject.
Your loyalty may be mixed with his royalty, for you'll be ruled, understand. Kings are not common things, nor are they actions common. All things are proper and peculiar unto them. So ladies whom they love are common proper ladies, who being proper cannot be counted common.
'Tis all my pride I'll be accounted proper.
Only to a king.
And common to all the world besides. That were gross.
You rest my meaning, virgin. I would not have you be.
A virgin, is not that your meaning?
Now you come to me. 'Tis true, for what is a virgin? Knew you as much as I, you'd ne'er be a virgin.
I dare swear I should not.
A virgin? Why, 'tis as much as to say because you were born a child, you should ever be so. This were ridiculous. Virginity, why, 'tis a jewel kept in a casket, which ne'er opened, as good as you knew had it. Shall mask be always kept in the cod? How shall the sweetness be tasted then? Virginity is like a false friend to you, which indeed is better lost than kept.
What shame of women, thou the falser start, be lost forever looking on my face, or lose those instruments thou look'st withal. Immodesties in men are venial, when women rebel against their weaker selves. Out, hag, turn thee into some other shape. I shall curse myself for being one of thy bad sex.
Enter Roderick.
Nay, I have done with you, lady. If flags of truce will not serve, you must look for defiance. And here he comes, that brings it with him.
Oh, powers of goodness, guard me!
Speak. Is she pliant?
Stubborn as an elephant's leg. No bending in her. You know what you have to do, my liege. Trees that will not yield their fruit by gentle shaking must be climbed, and have it pulled by violence.
Give leave.
I would she would give leave as soon as I. You should not be troubled to ask a duty from me. I would fall at your feet, my liege.
Exit Malena.
Why turn you from us, lady?
Oh, my liege, I turn not from your face, but from your power. You bring a frown I dare not look upon.
Your thoughts instruct you ill. I do not frown, but smile upon you.
I crave your pardon and bend my knee, your true obedient servant. My life, I'll lay an offering at your feet. What more would you have from your humble vassal?
Nothing so much, but far less than either. Thy love, fair virgin.
Keeping that name, you have it ever.
What name?
The Virgin. You have my prayers daily to heaven for your long sovereignties, your honest health and victories.
'Tis good. And will you deny yourself what you wish from others? I would achieve a victory from you.
Sure, I'm not your foe.
Concluded well. Approve yourself a friend. The war is love, wherein we two must strive. Make it no war, but yield it freely.
It is not love you seek, but an antipathy as dissonant as heaven and hell, the music of the spheres, compared with gnashings and howls below. Can lust be called love? Then let men seek hell, for there that fiery deity doth dwell.
We come not to dispute of good and bad, but as your sex has done, taste what's forbid, and then distinguish of the difference. I come not now to war with eloquence, whose treaties are all past. If you embrace your proffered love, we'll pray, or call it lust. If not, we speak a king to you, you must.
Will you be my officer?
Called as you please. We have a burning fever and the disease you may lay balsam to.
Poison be it, a serpentine and deadly aconite. Never survive to know what you have done. Perish in the deed or e'er begun.
These blasts are Zephyr's breath, a gentle gale, when it blows high.
Then let my tears prevail.
The sacrifice of fools, the proverb scorn. None pities woman's tears, but idiots born.
Remember what my father does for you. He's gone to brandish against your enemies. He's fetching you honour home, while at home you will dishonour him.
My purpose was to send him forth the better to achieve my conquest here.
Tyrannous, unkingly!
Tush, I have no ears.
He'll be revenged.
Pity, not future fears.
Help! Help! Some good hand, help!
There's none within thy call.
Heaven hears.
Tush, 'tis far off.
See heaven, a wicked king, lust stains his crown. Or strike me dead, or throw vengeance down.
Tush, heaven is deaf, and he laughs at thy cry.
Be cursed in the act, and cursed die.
I'll stop the rest within thee.
And exit dragging her. Okay, just when we thought it couldn't get worse, it got worse. I mean, it was implied from the beginning of the scene as well that with the board or the two boards, effectively, the board and the panda, the sexual violence implicit in what they were saying there, and quite explicit as well, the way they were bouncing back and forth. I mean, there was a lot that really worked in that board sequence as well, actually. There was something incredibly cynical about the way that was working. And, all of this has been signposted from a very, very long way off. I mean, it's pretty much from the off of the play. But it still doesn't make it any less shocking that actually the play quite boldly goes in that direction with her being dragged off. Any thoughts from the room before we go to a scene that hopefully is lighter and cheerfuler? Lynn?
Yeah, well, it occurs to me that Malena is plot-wise an unnecessary character. I mean, she fails as a persuader. She fails as a bawd. She just comes in and says, I give up. You're going to have to go about this the hard way. But it does sort of add to the tawdriness of the atmosphere to have her there.
Yeah. I thought there was something disturbingly effective about the way that led into the scene within what the play is trying to do there, because it is the cynicism of it all, of like, this is something that actually we've been hit before, and even at the same time there was one particular line that got me quite early on in the scene. I turn not from your face but from your power. And that really underlines what is going on here. This is about power. Rachel?
I thought that the dialogue between Lothario and Malena at the top of the scene was a great scene, leading into horrificness, but it's a great little.
I enjoyed that scene best of everything we've read.
Yeah, it's a great little contest between the two of them.
I think the speed is important.
Yeah, it's great, but the rest of it's in the midst of horrible.
Yeah, but it's not like this is a deliberate act from the playwright to produce this horror and is stepping the horror up as the play progresses. Doesn't necessarily mean we approve or would stage it ourselves, but it is it's operating on it's functioning within its own logic. Eric?
I find it interesting because it's kind of like the sort of that thing that we saw in the Revengers tragedy, where you've got like sort of a good woman that is chaste cannot be alive. So it's either like chaste and corrupted there by someone else, in this case just Jacinta or Jacinta, corrupted by Roderick and therefore ruined, or married and sort of taken that way. I don't know how to say it in a polite way. But yeah.
But they brought up Lucrece earlier. I mean, this is the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
Susan, and then we must move on.
Well, just a tiny thing. I have never seen a stage direction exit dragging her. And for some reason, it reminds me of, is it Bond Saved, where they stone the baby? It's a bit like stage directions like that. Wow. You don't see those often.
I don't think it's the first time we've seen a dragging off. And I think we've had dragging off by the hair. In a similar scene. I will have a little check for that, but such things are findable. So it's not unknown, and by this point possibly almost de rigueur. I must move us on because I'm afraid we have a lot of text to get through. So I'm going to run some of these scenes into each other because they're quite short. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter Julianus, Medina, Antonio, and Lazarello.
Not the messenger returned from the castle with answer from Alonzo.
See, my lord, they come together.
Noble Julianus, the dignity of general you wear be with your valiant individual, till we have made it triple by our conquests. Then let that threefold one impale your brows, and bear it to King Roderick in triumph.
Worthy Alonzo, you must help your wishes ere they can take effect. Your approved arm will be a good assistant. But I pray, sir, how have you kept your castle so unbruised? The foe not far distant, have you not ta'en nor given? No sallying forth, no buffeting?
My lord, we have been as yet quiet as in league, which makes me guess their number is not full. They have not yet, unless with grim aspects, so much as frighted this my tender daughter.
Tender father, I pray let you not your pity disparage me. I have seen a sword whipped out stark naked in my time, and never squeaked. Do you think a Saracen's head or a blackamoor's face can affright me? Let me then be afraid of every chimney sweeper.
Good spirit, in faith. Even such a soldier have I left behind. I had much ado to keep her from the field. Poor Jacinta, had I known such a sworn sister for her, I should almost have given her leave.
I'll tell you, sir, were there a band of buskined Amazons that would tuck up their skirts and strike indeed, my girl should wear my right Melilippa's belt. She should be foremost, and I'll venture her.
Is she such a striker, my lord?
All at head, nowhere else. Believe me, sir, we hold it base to strike below the waist.
You fight high, lady.
So she does at heart, I think.
So to her bachelors. Antonio, Lazarello, Medina. Come, Alonzo, you and I must treat more seriously upon our war intendments.
The general wrongs you to call you bachelor, Antonio.
Would he did not wrong me.
Have not you a cardiac, a heart fever now? Huh? Do you think there is a phoenix now? Is there but one good face in the world?
I see nothing in her face. Prithee attempt to speak her again. To make her speak again.
Her tongue? Nay, if you like her tongue, you must needs like her tail, for the one utters the other. Lady, what would you give now for Moors' heads by the dozen?
I would buy by the score, sir.
And what a score, then?
Chalk best for the score. Every alewife knows that.
You talk of chalk, and I a cheese.
He's in the last dish. Pray take him away here.
I have not done yet. Will you buy any ware of me?
What? Proffered ware? Foh.
Give her, thou wilt be foiled else.
Why, here's a wench now. I had rather lie with her wit than with the best piece of flesh in Christendom. I could beget you mercenaries on her. With the very conceit, would you had had a good pair of eyes in your head?
There are false glasses and will deceive me.
Enter a scout.
My lord, to arms! The foe discovered, marching amain upon you!
We're in readiness. Our counsels broke. Advice must be all blows. Lady, to your hold, and at advantage, see what these youths will do to gain your love. Nobly for Spain, speak drum, and if they call, answer for us. They come.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 3. Alarum. Enter Mully, Mumen, King of the Moors.
Descend thy sphere, thou burning deity. Haste from our shame. Go blushing to thy bed. Thy sons we are, thou everlasting bell. We never shamed these our impressive brows till now. We that are stamped with thine own seal, which the whole ocean cannot wash away. Shalt those cold ague cheeks that nature molds within her winter shop, those smooth white skins that with a pulsy hand she paints with the limbs, make us recoil?
Enter Zacharia, a Moor.
Great Mully, haste! Either give heart to our retiring troop by a fresh onset, or haste to safety by flight and basins. Banagazibagarian slain.
There's our brother. Where's our brother? Mahomet.
Rounded with danger where he believes himself nobly an error and fine accolades more are gone up to his rescue, and if not more, he dies or is captived.
We'll partake either or both with him. They are both noble, but to basely fly is to preserve life, and let honor die. Fall then my flesh, so there survive my name. Who flies from honor follows after shame.
They exit. Act 4, Scene 4. Alarum. Can't find my drum. Enter Julianus, Antonio, and Alonzo.
Antonio, now by the saint of Spain, you have made yourself remarkable today. Valour, exceeding valour, was not looked for, which you have shown today.
So nobly, sir, that I could wish my daughter were in love with you and your virtues. Would you requite it? Her dowry should be 50,000 crowns. More than ever I meant it.
Oh, heart, thou speaks too late. My lords, your praises and your noble wishes makes me esteem myself behindhand with same. Here's yet more work to do.
One Mully we have ta'en. If Mumen fly not, he's his fellow captive.
There my new fortunes shall their honor prove. Then farewell, war. Next will warfare with love.
And they exit. Act 2, Scene 5. Alarum. Excursions. Enter Julianus and Medina with 2 prisoners.
Medina, post to King Roderick. Do thus and thus tell our royal master what work we have done him. You see and know, and it need no relation. Here are royal prisoners.
How will you use us?
As in captivity we wish ourselves.
May we not be ransomed?
As from the king we shall receive, as his pleasure returns us. Meantime, you shall have cause to blame your fortunes, not your conquerors. Where's Antonio, the best deserver of this day's honour?
Retired to his tent.
Well, not wounded, is he?
No, my lord, but weary.
So are we all. Now we have time to rest and get new breath. We conquer to the life and not to death.
And they exit, and there I will pause. So lots of very short scenes, sketching out some action, some sustained fighting will occur there, sketching out a few of their adversaries, and also sketching out one of this additional character of Dionisia, who has been added to the mix of the potentially important characters. Any thoughts from the room for this sort of relatively generic series of exchanges? Lynn.
Well, I kind of enjoy saying "I told you so." Actually, so it looks like Antonio is already regretting having married whatever his Margaretta, because he's kind of got, oh, that's Dionisia, she's hot. So that's going wrong already.
Mm-hmm. But again, going wrong in a slightly more satisfactory way than some of the other things that are going wrong for other characters.
You at least get the feeling that Antonio was sincere at the time. He just kind of didn't know his own mind. He just kind of didn't. Yeah.
Well, he was going to war. He didn't necessarily know what tomorrow might bring. There's for all he knew, he was going to be dead by today. So there is that sort of logic to him. Other thoughts?
Moors don't seem too evil.
Sorry, say again?
The Moors don't seem particularly evil.
No, they have a certain received way of talking that is speaking to some stereotypes that we've had in earlier plays, but they are not being presented as inherently terrible people at this time, which is helpful.
Except for making up the words.
Well, there are lots of names, and it did feel like that possibly Rowley was having a little fun with the names there.
Yes.
I'm not sure how accurate some of them would have been. Irene.
I just want to say that I prefer thousandfold the Moor to the previous king. This king is better. He seems more noble. What can I say? Let's see how it goes from there, but definitely.
Yes, though as I say, nobility can lead into various tropes and stereotypes that can also be a problem. But we shall see. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of stage time, so again, the other problem is, how do you define a character when they've only had about 12 lines? It's being sketched in pretty broadly.
But the other one was nasty right from the beginning.
Oh,
the other king.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In this play,
you need many lines to be nasty.
Yeah. Okay, Act 2, Scene 6. Let's complete Act 2. Enter Antonio reading a letter, as well as Lazarello.
Now, Antonio, where's Margaretta now?
Here.
Who's that in your hand, then?
I know not. Look, 'tis gone.
Drops the letter.
Fie, you'll take it up again. Come, stoop. This is Dionysia's character, a hand worth your heart. Peruse it better.
Antonio picks up the letter.
So, 'tis well. Ladies' fair hands must not be rejected so. I did foresee this dangerous relapse. You are in love.
With Margaretta.
With Dionisia. Nor do you shame it, rather cherish it. It is a choice befitting your high blood. What you have done, make it as an assay unto your best desires.
Oh, Lazarello, thou givest me poison to recure a wound already mortal.
Why, this is speedless haste. I know your sated pleasures would throw up their overcloyed receipt. You have been noble in your brave deeds of arms. Who shall boast it? Your beggars' issue? They are antipathies. How would it sound to hear poor Margaret say her lord hath brought home honour from the wars? 'Twould stain your worth to be so vainly boasted. No, this lady would multiply your praises with her praise, lest Dionysia say to her Antonio, won the palm of victory, then you are throned, and music gracing the solemnity.
One word confutes the ever into silence. I am married.
A mistake in private. Who knows that?
Margaretta and myself, besides 1,000 witnesses within.
Quit you those. And who dares speak it else?
Who dares not speak a truth?
Dares not? Who dares? What danger is more great than to speak truth? If poor ones dare speak plain of great man's faults, there's needed no libeling.
I'll choke freedom. Oh, what a bed of snakes struggle within me.
Tush, they are but worms, and I'll give thee seed and reasons to destroy them. You're married.
A good physician. Now kills me quickly to haste me out of pain.
Tush, I must first draw the corruption forth, and then apply the healing medicine.
Persuade me to turn Turk or more Mahometan, for by the lustful laws of Mahomet I may have 3 wives more.
And concubines besides. Turn more? Do you expect such counsel from your friend? Wrong me not so. I'll show you a Christian way, at least a way dispensed with Christians. Say you distaste your match as well you may, when truth shall be unmasked and shame walk by, bearing a blushing torch to light them both, mend then the cause before it take effect. Annihilate your marriage, that the cause, 'tis private yet, let it be private ever. Allow your Margaret a pension. She may be glad to embrace that. 'Twere pride to embrace you. Say she be called your whore for something that may breed from what is done. Better her shame than yours. A common thing. Poor beauties are proud of noble bastardy.
Fearful counsel.
Does your Margaret love you?
Beyond her life.
Good. Marry Dionisia. Grief kills her. Then you are a widower.
Scriptures misbehave. Horrible murder. 'Twere less tyranny to kill at once than by lingering poison.
Ha! Poison? What white devil prompted that? Poison. Brave, the very change of friendship, the trial of a friend's love to death. Would you make sure of a friend's constancy? A swift poison will strike it dead. And 'tis the easiest way, and may be done even in the terms of love, as thus. I drink to you, or accept these gloves. The taste, the touch, the sight, tush, any sense will take it kindly.
I'll hear no more from thee. Thou studiest to make worse, a positive bad. by a veiled performance.
Enter Dionisia.
Ha! Look yonder. There's an eye speaks better oratory in very silence. Where's poor Margaret now?
Oh, my heart.
Look upon that face. Well, you're my friend, and by that true love's knot, had I that face, but in reversion after your decease, I think I should give you physic for't.
Worthy sir, my noble father entreats some words with you.
A happy messenger invites me to him. How shall I quit your pains?
I'll take my travel for it, sir.
'Tis too little.
I think it too much, sir, for I was loath to have travelled thus far, had not obedience tied me to it.
You are too quick.
Too quick, sir? Why, what occasion have I given you to wish me dead?
I cannot keep this pace with you, lady. I'll go speak with your father.
I pray stay, sir. I'll speak with you myself.
Before your father?
No, here in private, by yourself.
I'll stop my ears, madam.
Why, are they running away from your head, sir?
I mean, I'll seal them up from hearing, lady.
You may, no doubt they have wax of their own.
Venture thy ears no further, good Lazarello. She will endanger them, but lady, think on. Speak. Is not this your hand?
I have 3 then, it should seem, for I have 2 of my own fingering.
This is your letter?
You know my mind then by this time.
If I may be your expositor, lady, I think I do.
And how do you expound me, sir?
Kind and loving.
Kind and loving? 'Twere a good commendations for a sow and her pigs.
You ask me the reason why I inquired your age of your father.
'Tis true, sir, for what have you to do with my age?
I'd rather have to do with your youth, lady.
Who, my page?
Fie, madam, you're too apprehensive, too dexterous. Your wit is 2 ages, I protest.
What a cut that would give to a bald crown.
My crown itches not at that, my lady.
Yet you scratch it, though.
Come, your wit's a good one. Do not tire it.
I mustn't remove out of my head, for I must tire that.
I think you love me.
You and I may be of 2 opinions. I think not so now.
Your hand has betrayed you. Do not you plainly say here we 2 should be well matched?
Oh, strange. He steals half a text to uphold his heresy, but what follows we should be well matched of a game of shuttlecock. The meaning is, for a couple of light-headed things, we could not be overmatched. He might have conceded that could have been said, be to a battle, but come, sir, you have said enough to me. Will you go speak with my father?
This I'll add first, which I'll vouch unto your father's face. I love you.
This I'll confirm to you, and to my father's face, but I'll not promise you, whether I blush or no, I do not hate you.
I'll follow you, yet give me leave ere you go to give gratitude unto your lip.
My lips do not stand in the highway to beg a charity, as yet open as they appear to you. You'll follow me, sir.
I cannot stay long after.
Soft, I'm in your debt, sir. Did you bestow a kiss on me?
I did so far presume.
Take it again. So now I am out of your debt. Hereafter never fear to lend freely to one that pays so willingly.
Exit Dionisia.
Now, sir, what do you do?
I am dissolving an enigma.
Let me help you. What is't?
I would fain know what kind of a thing man's heart is.
Were you never at barber surgeon's hall to see a dissection? I'll report it to you. 'Tis a thing framed with diverse corners, and into every corner a man may entertain a friend. There come the proverb, a man may love one well, and yet retain a friend in a corner.
Gosh, it is not the real heart, but the unseen faculties.
These I'll decipher unto you, for surely the most part are but ciphers. The heart indeed, for the most part doth keep a better guest than himself in him. That is the soul. Now the soul being a tree, there are diverse branches spreading out of it, as loving affection, suffering sorrows, and the like. Then, sir, these affections or sorrows, being but branches, are sometimes lopped off, or of themselves wither, and new shoot in their rooms. As, for example, your friend dies, there appears sorrow, but it quickly withers, then is that branch gone. Again you love a friend, their affection springs forth, at last you distaste, then that branch withers again, and another buds in his room. Shall I give you history to this moral?
No, I can do it myself. Oh, Margaret.
So she is in the vocative case already. If she slide into the ablative, she's thrust quite out of the numbers.
I am lost, Lazarello.
I shall find you again in Dionisia's arms.
Must I backslide?
If you can find in your heart, you must.
My heart's a rebel to me.
Faith, all your body will be accessory to it. I'm a friend. Come, league with your thoughts. You are too nice.
How ill thou speakst of good, how good of vice. 'Tis now concluded in me. I will on. I must, although I meet destruction. Downhill we run, climb upward a slow pace. Easy descents to hell, steep steps to grace.
And they exit. Okay, as I say, this plot line is bearing interesting fruit. I mean, I'm not going to say that Antonio is a great human being, but his struggle is real. He's not just going, here's another woman I realize I'm going to go to her. There seems to be a genuine connection with Dionisia, and they have a really interesting exchange and back and forth, and Lazarello is a slimy creep. But a really interesting slimy creep. I have to say, Lazarello's dialogue was doing really interesting things there.
Wasn't it?
So, yeah.
I didn't understand some of it, Robert.
That's fine. Some of it is.
I didn't understand the conceits behind what he was trying to do in some of the stuff earlier on. Did you?
You'll have to be more specific, but there will be, I'm sure, lots of bits where we ebb and flow, and where we'll find things later on. But there is a lot of stuff in this that is quite opaque and would be a problem, I think, in performance. But anyway, I'll go to Lynn, then Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, Dionisia's a great character. She deserves a better play, or at least a less creepy one. But she's so smart and so clever, and yeah, like she's not just sort of this like blushing ingenue. She makes jokes, and she's very forward, and knows what she wants, and here she is in this sort of tawdry tragedy. Makes me a little bad.
But I'm stuck. I'm feeling maybe there's a way of disconnecting material from this play, because there is some good.
The individual scenes would be great. I mean, I don't know how the actors in the room feel, but I mean, Lazarello would be a horrible person if he were really a great character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, what is a heart? And it just goes, have you ever been to a dissection?
Yeah, he's like, so what? You're married. Nobody knows about it. Pay her off. Or, I think you could just poison her.
Yeah, with friends like that, my goodness.
I love all the lopping off the branches of the tree, and another one will grow, and it's a beautiful
that was a really interesting idea. This idea of things on trees, sprouting and then dropping off and seeds. That's a really interesting thought.
It's great.
Rachel, did you have a thought?
I just was going to say what I said in the chat, that I think women in this play, women are safer on the battlefield than left back at home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the threat of an oncoming army is nothing here, and because the army seems quite reasonable actually, because it's like, it is my job to attempt to kill you, but we treat each other with respect, and nobody in the court does that. So yeah, I mean, that was a really engaging scene in all sorts of different ways. Eric.
Well, also because Lazarello from the beginning sort of goes, I want you to marry someone who's better off than Margaret. But then you kind of start to, like, at the beginning, it seems like he has good intentions, or at least on some basic level. But then, like, once Antonio is married, he doesn't support that. He just sort of goes, well, you should still find someone better. Which is kind of interesting as well. And then Antonio sort of has this thing of like, well, do I want this? Do I not want this? And like at the beginning of the scene, I couldn't work out if they'd already made advances towards each other, like Antonio and Dionisia, or not, because there's a part of me going, well, if they had, he wouldn't be in such a sort of quandary about what to do.
They'd exchanged glances. There was some sort of, but there was a letter, and the letter was there as their sort of bridging maneuver at that point.
What on earth was in the letter?
So yeah, okay. Let us see where the beginning of Act 3 takes us. We've got one more scene to do this session. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter Lothario and Jacinta.
Quiet your tongue, or I'll take away your liberty. Know you are under me and my command.
Quiet my tongue, art officer of hell. Oh, jailer to the devil, fleshly fiend. I'll waken heaven and earth when my exclaims, astonish hell for fear, the fire be doubled in the due vengeance of my heinous wrong. The heinous wrong.
Forbear, I say. You are a crack virgin, and I'll bestow the widow alms on you in charity if you do not hold your tongue.
Worst of humanity, hold thou thy tongue. Shame thou to speak. My shame enforceth me.
Come, my little, what shall I call thee? For it is now doubtful what thou art, being neither maid, wife, nor, saving your reverence, widow.
She spits at him.
Ha, dost spit at me? I'll have you spitted for this trick, and I will turn you as you see, and moreover, I will baste you.
Oh, that I could spit out the spider's bladder or the toad's entrails into thee, to take part and mix with the diseases that thou bearest, altogether choke thee, or that my tongue were pointed with a fiery pyramis to strike thee through, thou bundle of diseases, this storehouse of some shaggy meteor, some blazing fire shone o'er thy fatal birth, and laid up all her sad effects in that. Gouts, aches, dropsies, 100 more, were not poison to thee natural, thine own foul rottenness would strangle thee.
Thou art a loser, and I do consider it. Thou hast lost a maidenhead, a shrewd crack, a flaw that will hardly be soldered again. Some there that can pass away these counterfeits. For current, as brass money can be taken for silver, yet it can never be the same, nor restored to his first purity. This I consider, and bear, but presume not too much to trouble the pool of my patience. It may rise foul, it may.
Oh, that thine eyes were worth the plucking out, or thy base heart, the labour I should take in rending up thy bosom. I should but open a vault to poison me, detested wretch. The hangman's man, basest degree of baseness. Thou livest on the lees and dregs of lust. Thy soul is a hired hackney towards hell. O Julianus, my much-honoured father, how is thy simple faith deluded now? Thou hadst not so much thought of ill in thee to breed a bad opinion of a villain, tyrant, and ravisher. Whilst thou art winning renown and honour from Spain's enemies, Spain has dishonoured and imprisoned me. Thou understandst not this. unless the winds upon their fleeting conveyor bear it thee, some gentle vision, tell thee in thy sleeps, and heaven instruct thee with a waking faith, true to believe thy slumbers. Boil out my blood, and at the briny limbeck of mine eyes, distill my faculties. Alone I'll tell my sorrows unto heaven, my curse death. There I'll mix that wretch, from thence they rise. Whilst I look on him, I loathe mine eyes.
And exit Jacinta.
Would that I have some kinder purpose, I would not be thus baited. I am given to the flesh as well as the king my master. I have some hope to taste this dish after him. But 'tis yet too hot for me. It will cool, and then I will draw my blade and have a flash at it. This woman's two-edged tongue and this burthen of flesh that I bear about me hath made me so heavy I must take a nap. Cobb, boy, Cobb, page.
Enter
Yes,
Cobb,
sir.
the page.
There is something gone into my ears that troubles my brain. Blow in some music to fetch it out again.
The best I can, my lord.
And hark you, having done, ascend the turret and see if you can discover his majesty coming to the castle. This house he appointed for his recreation. If you do, descend and give me warning.
I will.
Exit Cobb. A song from within. Lothario falls asleep. Enter Cobb.
So I have lulled my lord asleep. I see he takes my music heavily. Therefore I sing no more. Now to my turret to see if the king come. Now he may take him napping.
Exit Cobb. Enter Jacinta.
There is no resting place within a prison to make my sorrows less by recounting. I throw 'em forth, but empty none at all. Sleep. Aye, security can sleep. Grief's a true watchman. How's the devil snores? There's hell within him, and what hideous noise the fiends do make. Oh, had I a murthering heart, I could with his office beat out his brains. But I have better thoughts. These keys may give me my release from prison. Can I think of better release? No, I will not delay it. I will keep back my sins from multitudes, and I may fly for safety to my father. There's divers ways heaven instruct the privatist. Best for my escape. Fare ill, not well. Thou and thy lustful master, from all but one, this key now frees me. Oh, that I bear about, which none but mercy's key can deliver out.
Exit Jacinta. Enter Cobb.
My lord, I spy the king coming privately by himself. My lord, one were as good attempt to wake a watchman at 3 o'clock in the morning. My lord, lend me your keys, if you'll not stir yourself. Methinks he should wake himself with snoring, but it may be the more noise makes him sleep the sounder. The best is I take it. The king has a private key to let in himself. If he have, he will do his own work himself, and my lord for this time shall be an innocent pander. In this act of sleep a harmless husband may be so to his own wife. 'Tis as I guessed. He has come in of himself.
Enter Roderick.
Where's your master?
He's here in his private meditations, my liege.
He was ever heavy. Where's Jacinta?
Safe enough, my liege. She struck my lord into these damps with the very music of her tongue, but they were all discords.
Command her hither.
Exit Cobb.
Her father sends me word. He has a noble fortune to bring home, conquest and royal captives. I shall not well requite him. Therefore I must now be heedful that when what I return, now the villain snores. Sleep on, sir, your sin will be the less in being my board. Now where is she?
Enter Cobb.
Alas, my lord, I have been...
Been, imp? Where have you been?
Seeking about all the corners of the castle for Jacinta.
Why? Is she to seek, slave?
I can neither hear nor see her anywhere.
Rogue, thou neither seest nor hearest more if I see not her.
I'll go seek better, my liege. I doubt some legerdemain. But if I find her within, I know the way out.
Exit Cobb.
You dormouse, baby of a 50 bundle of security, awake, rogue! Pox of your heavy flesh, hast thou no soul?
Minion, I'll clog your heels with irons for this. Will you not let me rest by you?
Mischief ope, your eyelids block image.
I will tell the king, and he shall tickle you for this.
Sir Death, I'll tickle you for this loggerhead. Where's Jacinta?
Oh, my liege, it is your majesty. I beseech you pardon me. These after-dinner naps are the repasts to my body.
Diseases devour your body. Where's Jacinta?
Safe, my liege. My keys. Where's my keys? Saw you my keys, my liege?
Confirmed she has the keys, and has fled the castle. Dog, hellhound, thou shalt be my football slave. I'll drag this hateful lump into his grave.
Nay, but my lord, I protest by mine honor and the office I hold about you. I left them by me when I went to sleep, and my first dream told me they were there still. My boy, my cob. Saw you my cob, my liege?
Dogs worry you both. Search slave in every angle. Send pursuit after her if you returnest her not. Or thou shalt curse thy being.
If she be not above steeples, nor beneath hell, I'll find her. For so high and low I can reach and dive, as heavy as I am.
Exit Lothario.
If she escapes us, and once reach her father, now in his height of honour, we know not how he may receive his wrongs, nor the event. We will command him distant from the court, and his prisoner sent to us, and this shall haste before her possible speed if she scape. We'll threaten his head's loss if he deny him. Those that do wrong had need keep safety by him.
Exit Roderick. So once again, we have. I like Cobb.
I do.
Yeah, the Cobb's doing some interesting business there. I like the whole he's asleep and he can't wake him, and the king has to wake him up. And it's like, yeah, just get off. And doesn't realise for a while. I mean, it's really weird. Within all the horribleness of this play and the horribleness of the initial setup, it sort of trundling along actually quite effectively now. And there's parts of me thinking, okay, some of the big problems in the very opening of the play, the racialized language that was being used, and some of that material doesn't seem actually to be actually part of the play. The attack of the Moors in Act 2 is almost irrelevant. They're just to sort of to get people out of the way so that the rest of the plot can be going on. So I'm thinking that element can be sort of removed and toned down. We still have the sexual violence.
Costumes.
Don't forget,
it probably looks great. Nice costumes.
Mm-hmm. But it's not, and the way that functions is less can be dealt with. I'm thinking potentially. I mean, we don't know what the second half does yet. I mean, apart from the sexual violence, which is of course central to the nature of the plot. But then the plot is doing something with that, and I'm not sure what the matrix of that is going to be by the time we get to the end. So there is more hope than in the first 20 minutes of this play. The curse of the final session may still strike. But I am thinking now more actively about what can actually be done with this in a more active way, because I see that there is a potential here within it. Lynn.
Yeah, you're right. The enemy, the military enemy doesn't have to be exotic. I mean, it makes it, gives you production value opportunity, but it could be anybody. It could be one of Spain's many conflicts with Portugal.
I mean, they could still be more, but you don't have to constantly go those black Moors who are black as this
whole
constant rhetoric that they're using. Is entirely unnecessary within the text. I mean, there's an awful lot of other layers in here, which, but yeah, so far. I mean, I don't know. The second half, there's still time.
And I just sort of like this twist that Lothario, who is entirely amoral and self-serving, it's like, well, now that the king's had her, I'd like a little chance at her too. So maybe, ew. But he's done for because the king literally caught him napping, and his charge has escaped.
Yeah.
So we have the satisfaction of knowing that Lothario's going down.
Yes, and there is also the additional potential / satisfaction that will come with a text like this in the high probability that most of them will die. So there is enjoyment to be had about killing horrible people, which doesn't necessarily say nice things about human civilization, but there is that to be had, as who will come out the other side of this story, and how will they go down. And don't say anything, anyone who's read ahead or read the argument. Don't, because that will change things. I'll go to Susan, then to Rachel.
I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I think William Rowley gets my acting vote, because all of you, Alan, you're on the words much more instead of the sing-song. And it is, the words are very playful and worth the energy in this play. And in others, they can become a bit... they have their longeurs, whereas this is actable, playable. This is playful.
Yes, the trap that this play has is more to do with time, in sense of the references that have died and the jokes and the way they're structured having died. But in terms of the way it's written, and actually there's something about the very first act, very beginning act, and sometimes there are bits where I'm going, is it in verse or is it in prose? Certainly with the clown. But Lothario ending a couple of sentences with I, lines with I, mover into Pisces, I. It's what is that doing in terms of the way the verse is moving, and what certain speech patterns that characters have. They do seem to be varying between different characters in a way of saying this character sounds like a bit like this character sounds a bit, it's not all the same all the way through. There is variation there, and I think that gives actors clues to do something with. Rachel.
Yeah, I was hoping, I mean, I wouldn't want to turn the enemy army into not Moors, because there's a little moment in which it was almost like, you think the Moors are bad, well, the Christians, you see what we can do in a Christian way that's even more barbaric, So it was a little moment that it was almost going in that direction. So you can criticize, Moors, but Christians are bad. But I want to write some fan fiction for Dionisia and Jacinta.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be said.
I want them to live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Together, for all we know.
Together.
Irene.
Yeah, it just occurred to me while I was reading it that they're very abusive of the Moors and how they're black and this and that. But when the king of the Moors speaks about the white people, it's actually getting his own back, because he sort of says they're pale and disgusting and so
how pasty they are, and
pasty, and okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is the danger, especially with the opening of a play, which is, of course, we're taking on some level of saying, okay, well, this is what the author is saying about these, as opposed to what that character is saying at that moment, and what is that character's actions doing within the rest of the context of the play. Now, I wouldn't ever suggest that an early modern play is going to be terribly progressive on that level. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't give us opportunities, and that the individual characters are not automatically mouthpieces for the author, though they can be. So there are complexities in there, and what those lines are doing. And as I say, there are options as to what we do with a text like this. The other advantage to remember about this text is it's not very long. And so that's in asking interesting questions about what it's doing. We've had at least one song in there. Interesting to know what that moment is doing. We're not going to get to final thoughts in a general way, especially as it's the first session, so it's a matter of still trying to figure out, with a much more complicated play like this, of saying, how do we stage it today, beyond saying very, very carefully at this stage. But I have to say, by the end of this session, I've got a much better idea of this functioning. As to at the beginning of the play, I was going, no, no, no. I was just sort of battening down the hatches. But I will, anyone who wants to chip in now for the next 5 minutes or so. Alan.
Yeah, I mean, there's some very well written language. There's some very well drawn characters. It's relatively linear in terms of the plot movement. It's just a shame that the underlying conceit is so bloody awful.
Yes.
You know, with the misogyny, the sexual violence, the racism, and all the rest of it. He could write. It's just a shame he chose this particular topic to do it on.
But it's interesting comparing this with, say, co-authored text with The Changeling, which is doing very similar things as this text is doing. And that is a text that will be given performances today with less automatic objection that we might do for a play that nobody's really heard of. And so it's an interesting question. Is it just we're used to the other play being like what it is, and therefore we give it a pass in a way that we don't necessarily for this? Sarah?
Just, I think there's a bit of room here to say this is an anti-sexual violence play. This is a play in which the victim refuses to be victimized, in which she expresses anger and distress and, takes agency and escapes.
Yes.
Yep.
And again, we don't know where the play goes as to precisely who's going to die and how they're going to die and why they're going to die. We can assume that a lot of people are going to die. I don't think that's a spoiler. But also the advantage with a play like this is we can always add a few more deaths if we feel the play doesn't give all the ones we want. So that's always a relatively straightforward editorial change that we can do. Eric?
Well, also you can have sort of, because it seems to be working on various levels. Like we said, like you've got the Christians versus the Moors, and sort of the morality of the Moors, although they have multiple wives and multiple concubines in the context of whatever, it could be that Rowley is showing up, like the fact that, like, well, we're Christians, we only have one wife, but several mistresses, and no one ever actually finds out, but when they do, it's terrible, or we just make sure they die before they find out. Whereas in the sort of Moorish morality, it's perfectly legitimate, and everyone,
or what they say is the Moorish
thing. But it's kind of and then you've got that next to sort of what Antonio is going through with Dionisia and Margaretta, which is sort of, it doesn't have to do with that sort of thing where you kind of have, you've got a perfectly legitimate marriage, which is kind of undercut by him not really knowing what he's buying into, basically, or just sort of going, oh, found someone who's actually matched my wits, kind of thing. Whereas in the king is just taking advantage of the of his power and of the situation, whereas Antonio seems quite distressed, maybe not distressed enough, but quite distressed about, like, his wife having to deal with and find out about the situation.
And we don't quite know where that's going to go.
It's played thus far.
Susan? Susan, yes.
I just find the temperature of the violence of these plays, I don't think there's any point talking, about how anti-Semitic or whatever they might be, without that bite, without those claws. This is what these plays are about. We've been told this is all lost by lust. It needs to be orange, once it goes down to grey, it's not going to be a Jacobean, it's not going to have this Italian flair, this strange sort of area that these plays inhabit.
And just on the note of finding some of the dialogue enjoyable, 5 extracts from this were included in the English Treasury of Wit and Language. So I don't know what the extracts were, but there are 5 bits from this play, 2 of which we've read, which apparently were considered very good and quotable. So they made it into a book of quotations. So on that note, I'm going to close this particular session. We have one more session on this play, All's Lost by Lust. As ever, having fun leads to death. So, don't have fun, people, or you'll die. So all that remains is thank all the wonderful readers. If you can always join us to be a reader, there are sign-up forms available on our website, beyondshakespeare.org. You can always sign up. We do several sessions every week doing this kind of thing. And it's entirely free. Anyone can sign up and join us as long as you can join us in one of these boxes. That is me talking to you about a year ahead from now. So for all I know, I'm not doing this anymore, and actually there aren't any sign-up forms, and or you're watching this video 10 years in the future, and none of this is true anymore, and it's all terrible. Or it may still be true. I don't know. I might still be going in 10 years. I don't know. Don't ask me about the future. Anyway, all that remains to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Stubborn as an elephant's leg.